This conference will now be recorded.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks for giving us the power, Kim.
I think actually Rick gave you the power, but you should have the power now.
All right, anybody else want the power? The Christmas miracle, we can do this. All right, no, okay, Rick's gone, so let's party.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about food and presents and gifts and stuff. Where's everybody at? I mean, Holly, you're doing better, so that's good. That's just, I mean, that's always scary.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I went and had the infusion of antibodies. So I think that really helped. But then my body went into shock because of the antibodies. So I ended up back in the hospital because I couldn't like catch my breath at all. And so, but they just said that sometimes like your body has, I said, what, my body was afraid because it has nothing good in it. So, but my whole family had it. I was like shocked when the lady said I had COVID. I guess COVID pneumonia is like in both of your lungs instead of just one. So that's how it presents different on the X-ray. So, but it just kind of came out of left field. And like I said, I had COVID before back in March. So I was like, okay, I have COVID antibodies. I have the vaccine. I should be very protected, and that's not the case. So,
Wow. And so, I mean, but everybody else, I mean, how's everybody else doing? I mean, now that, well, at least the Christmas season's over. I mean, we've got a big New Year's coming up. I don't know. Yeah, there's just like we're trying to catch wind of it because, and, I mean, okay, so we live, Central Michigan University is like right here in our backyard, and so I worked there for years, and we both got our masters from there, and so CMU was supposed to play in the Arizona Bowl in a bowl game like on New Year's Day against Idaho State. They went down to Arizona. Idaho State pulled out because they had COVID. So CMU's sitting down in Arizona without a bowl game. Meanwhile, over in Texas, El Paso, there was another bowl game, and it was going to be Miami and Washington State playing. Miami pulled out. So then Washington State's sitting there in El Paso without a thing. So then CMU got invited to go from Arizona over to El Paso. And so now we have friends that are coming over for the football game on Wednesday. And we're just like, do we really want to have people over?
Yeah, I suppose like now listening to Holly talk about being vaccinated and getting COVID, I mean, we take crazy drugs, some of us, and like Frank, I know you've had an experience with COVID. Is it something, Jennifer, I see you nodding your head. Is it something we should be, Tiffany's nodding, something we should be mindful, of course mindful, but something we should be afraid of?
Well, from my experience, yes.
from my experience, yes, too. Like I was like, I said to my family, like, I'm like so afraid now because it's like I thought I was protected, and then to come to find out I really wasn't. So like I made a rule: anybody who comes in from the outside into my house, like, you have to stop and wash your hands and sanitize. And like I hate to be like that, but I like if I get it again, forget, like I just don't know. And then in the news, in the news I found it really odd because in the news, like, they're trying to get so many people vaccinated, and I'm vaccinated. My sister's not vaccinated, and she went to the hospital, and they kept her for like 5 days. And I said, this is crazy. Like, I felt like they kept her because she was unvaccinated, but they were like, oh, you're all set, you can go. Like, they didn't want nothing to do with me because I was vaccinated. Like, I kind of feel like that, and so I told my sister to ask around and like see if what the story was with the other people, and the lady said everybody on the floor was like not vaccinated. So I feel like if you're vaccinated, they don't want nothing to do with you because it almost like doesn't fit the narrative. I hate to be cynical like that, but that's almost kind of how it seems.
Wow.
And
Wow.
like I have a lung disease, my sister doesn't, and so like I feel like not that I should have stayed, but I was just like kind of surprised.
Wow. Hello, Mike. Mike and somebody else joined, and so we're.
Yeah, Tiffany, have you had experience with COVID?
So I had COVID March of 2020. So that was, and that was, before vaccines, before everything. So that was a little tough. And then my work, we're actually in the middle of an outbreak right now.
Oh, wow.
So I work at a nursing home. We just had 3 staff positives. So.
Wow.
And I found out that somebody we saw the day after Christmas just tested positive, but they were like iffy on whether or not they were feeling well, they were packing, and like, we think it's just allergies or a cold. And I'm like, okay, well, we're all wearing masks then. So I'm lucky I protected myself a little bit there. But my work is swabbing me with a rapid every single day.
Wow. Wow.
Tiffany,
Yeah,
do you think it's like really bad in Massachusetts right now?
it's really bad in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah.
The percent positivity rate's really high. Massachusetts just crossed the 1 million threshold. I found out from our epidemiologist that they had an emergency call with the CDC the other day. Yeah, because I'm one of the infection control nurses at my job, so I do all the research.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, the good thing is the early data out of South Africa is showing that it hits, it's quick, and hopefully that surge should start going down quickly, hopefully.
Good, yeah.
But yeah, so we're in crisis mode at my job right now. I was supposed to have both a 3-day weekend, and that may not happen now.
Wow. So, Mike, you're doing well down in Arizona?
Doing well.
Good. And Christy, they're in the greater, you're like in Denver, right? Greater Colorado area.
Yeah, just northeast of Denver.
How are you doing? We were talking Christmas food and COVID, so how are you doing?
I've been better. I'm now kind of restricted to a wheelchair. I'm having a hard time walking. I go next month to Arizona to go to the Mayo Clinic. After about 3 weeks of trying to get in there and get my medical records to them, finally heard back from them. They wanted to do my first appointment of January 3rd, but we couldn't go because I have my Ocrevus infusion on the 4th. So that's kind of important. So we pushed the soonest we could get out there and that we could afford it, it would be the 10th. So we're flying out on the 9th. My first appointment is on the 10th at 7:45 a.m. They want me to be there 3 to 5 days for testing. So hopefully they can figure out what's going on with me because nobody here can. It's driving me nuts.
Understood.
Are you seeing the radiology, or not the radiology, but the neurology people there, Christy?
Yeah, as far as I know.
I have an appointment on the 3rd with Dr. Carter. It's my 3rd or 4th appointment with him. And
that sounds familiar as to who my appointment is with. Dr. Carter. From what I understand, there's only like 2 or 3 neurologists there at the Scottsdale
Yeah.
location. So it's most likely going to be with Carter. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, because that's where you go, right, Mike?
Yes. His first name is Jonathan. I looked at all the medical journals, he's written articles in. I mean, they're all really impressive. Right, Kim?
I love mine in Minnesota.
If it can be figured out, they should be able to figure it out.
I'm really hoping so because this is going on almost 6 months of all this pain and spasticity and spasms. And like I said, nobody here can figure out what's going on. So really hoping that my trip to Arizona is well worth it. You know, that I can get some answers or even have a game plan on how to move forward.
I missed the first part of the session tonight. Christy, can you tell me where the pain is located, or
What's that?
where is your pain located?
My right leg. From like my hip down to my foot. I've got numbness in my right foot. My foot won't plant correctly and the spasms are so bad that there's times that I like literally can't focus on anything. The spasms just come and they hurt so bad. So I've never experienced pain like this before. So I'm fingers crossed that everything gets worked out and I get a game plan as to how to fix it.
And you see the doctor like the 10th of January?
Yes.
Okay.
So they just told us plan on 3 to 5 days of appointments and testing. So we just booked for the entire week. So we're staying out there from flying in on the 9th. We'll leave the morning of the 15th.
Wow.
Sounds like really thorough examination.
I hope so.
Yeah, fingers crossed they can find some answers.
Right.
Yeah, be prepared for a long appointment. Like when you go there, you're literally there for like an hour and 90 minutes with the doctor. Like you really never see a nurse, and they're just with you in the room, and they sit and they don't drill you, but they're really thorough. And it was just so fascinating when I saw my neurologist here in Iowa. Like it's a 15-minute appointment. How can you compare a 15 versus a 45-minute appointment? Like you can't even compare about the breadth and depth that you can cover.
Right.
So just it's very when you're not used to that system and you go into it, it's jarring in a very good way, and then you get upset with everything outside of Mayo Clinic. I don't know about the Scottsdale. I'm assuming it's very similar to the Minnesota, but it just really like, why can't it? Like I go in, I have it all set up. So I go in, I get my MRI in the morning, I see the neuropsychologist in the late morning, and then the afternoon I see the neurologist. He has my results. We go over them. It's like, why can't it be that slick in Iowa?
Well, I figure, you know, between being there 3 to 5 days for testing and, you know, I figure it's going to be more in depth. It's going to be a lot more in depth than what I am used to here. Because literally, I agree with you. I see my neurologist here. We're talking maybe 15, 20 minutes max. And sometimes I feel like there's no resolution except for a new drug. And, you know, like this whole time I've been through four muscle relaxers. They finally got me. He got me on Lyrica. That's the only thing that's actually helped. It hasn't fixed anything, but it's helped. And then I have the pain meds. I have oxycodone, for like seriously painful times. But at the same time, with pain meds, it's good to, excuse me, it's good to be preemptive on that. But I can't be preemptive with my pain because it just comes out of nowhere. So it's been quite the journey to try and figure out what's going on. I mean, it's gotten to the point I can't even straighten my leg because the spasms are so bad that it's made my muscles seriously tense, so tense that I can't even straighten my legs, my right leg anyway. So right now we're actually doing a GoFundMe because I live in a 2-story house and Steve and I can't afford $17,000 for a stair chairlift. So we're trying to get as much funding, through people's help so I can get that installed. In hindsight, we should have bought a ranch, but I was fine when we bought this house 5 years ago. I didn't know it was going to take a turn for the worse, 5.5 years later. So that's all we can do right now is just kind of be proactive with getting stuff done. I have two cousins of mine. They're going to build a ramp in my garage so I can easily get in and out. My family's really trying to help in any way they can. My grandma, every time I talk to her, she's crying. Like, I don't like seeing you in a wheelchair. Well, Grandma, get used to it because this possibly could be my permanent the rest of my life. I've left working. I am now on short-term disability. I've hired a lawyer so that we can start the process for SSDI. Because, with the way I'm feeling, I really, really don't think it's going to get better. And in the fact that I'll be able to return to work in the capacity that I am used to. So, it's a huge change, but I just realized that I've got to come to grips that my body, I can't handle things like I used to.
Again, I'm hopeful for you that you'll get some answers.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Jen.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Oh, okay. Where are you? Let me see. I lost you. I touched my screen and it gave me a Zoom picture of like a lot of people, and I thought, this doesn't look right. It's the wrong group.
Now it's on. Now we're just silent. How are you doing, Karen? Because I haven't seen you for like
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It seems like it's been a lifetime. You're doing well?
No,
No?
I'm just declining. It's pretty fast. It's a pretty rapid decline. And I notice it all the time. Last time somebody asked, like, well, what's common? And that made me feel validated, like, yeah, we're not slow. Snowflakes, it's not, we're all different. And yeah, people just think you look fine. Like, yeah, it's just harder and harder to walk. I stayed in my cave for 3 days. That was good. But I ventured out just to see. I thought by now the frenzy would calm down, but no, people are still
Yeah.
pretty anxious.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Karen. Just how COVID has affected so many of us here. Not, I can't say us because Dan and I, knock wood, have been lucky, but just so many of us in the group have had COVID and have had to deal with it. So,
Oh, I know. I could feel a cloud, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else, but my world is not normal, and there's no normal for me to go back to. But yeah, I haven't really spent much time worrying about COVID. I got too much else to worry about. I let everybody else worry about it. I just feel like y'all do the research, you all worry about it. But I think just a lot of people in general aren't doing well.
yeah.
It's like there hasn't really been a break. It's like everything. We say like, oh, 2020 was the worst, and now in 2021, but it's almost like, did we try to rush in too quickly once the vaccines were there, and then we were all like out and doing, and then it's just like, oh, did it happen too soon? And now it's just like, everything's just up
Well,
in
that's also the news won't stop talking about it.
no.
They won't talk about real things that are going on, but like, don't get me started, about income inequality and housing. Like in the last 6 months, housing has been bought up by real estate companies, and
Yep.
more and more people are living on the street, and more people are hanging on.
Yeah.
Hi, Tim.
I thought it would be a happy meeting.
Maybe our sugar buzz has worn off. Like Christmas, we've had all the sugar and happiness, and now it's like buzz is gone.
There it is.
There
Thank
it
you.
is, Tim.
What are
Black
you
and white
eating, Tim?
cookies. Those are like a New York staple.
Yeah.
Here's
Howard.
some good news. Here's some
Yeah.
good news.
All
Didn't you start
right.
a
So
job,
before I,
Jennifer?
huh?
Did you start a new job?
Yes, February the grant will start, but before I left Meridian, I kicked
You're gonna
ass.
boost your mind, yeah.
I just did the best I could to set them up for the next OC. So, but before that, two of my individuals I was able to house, and they're my homeless individuals, and I got to house two more people before I got to leave.
Wow.
Nice.
So, I mean, there's definitely lots of bad things going on out there, but there's some that's really good that we don't get to hear.
Congratulations.
That's huge.
How
It is
are
huge.
you? How are you feeling?
My eye is bugging me, so I'm not crying, but like it's just been bugging me. And I did get for Christmas, I got a weighted blanket, so I'm really excited about it.
Nice.
I've heard stories.
Yeah,
What
this
does
is my
that do?
second day with it.
Kind of like a
It's
thunder jacket for dogs. Like,
you know what, honestly, my dog actually goes underneath it, and I can't hardly like lift it up, and he's just a beast anyways.
what is a weighted blanket?
It helps with anxiety, and also with like I like that tightness other than the MS
Oh,
hug. I don't like that too much, but it helps me with my anxiety. It's like comfort, I guess. I've heard like a lot of individuals trying it and they like it. So I was like, my mom gave it to me. She's like, here you go. I was like, oh, cool. But I'll have like 50 blankets on me anyways.
Wow.
So just real quick, Michael, my appointment is with Jonathan L. Carter.
Oh, good.
So to answer your question, yes, it's with Dr. Carter.
That's great. He's very knowledgeable. He goes for the whole ball of wax, with all the testing and physical therapy. Kim mentioned they'll tell you where you are psychologically or mentally, and that takes a long time. All the tests take a long time, but they're very thorough.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
How is your trigeminal neuralgia, Michael?
Well, I as I looked into it, I think I have a different kind of neuralgia.
Oh.
Criminal, people's mouths hurt and they pull their teeth out thinking that's going to help, and it doesn't. And it's more facial pain. But there's another one called Oxyoccipital Neuralgia, and that seems to, from what I read, occurs more in the scalp, which is where mine was, and by the ears. So I have a call into Dr. Carter at Mayo saying I had some articles I want to send. You might take a look at before we meet. And they're supposed to call me back, and the nurse will call me back, and I don't want him going down the wrong road, and however much time he gives me, and they always seem to give you plenty of time. And this seed is not, it doesn't sound as scary as trigeminal, Jennifer. And, I hope that's the case. It's gone away for now. I hope it doesn't come back.
I hope for you too. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Tim? You're doing well. Well, yeah, because I was gonna say when you pulled up your microphones, I said that looks like your podcasting mic, dude.
Yeah, that is my podcasting mic. I've had a lot of podcasting to do today. Doing well. Had a great oh, ouch. Yeesh. Well, I had a great holiday until I just wrecked my wife's gift here.
Uh-oh.
But maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But it's a big old skeleton with a middle finger up saying FUMS. So
Nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
So
Gee,
yeah,
what
she
does
does
that mean?
I have no idea. She won't tell me. She won't tell me. No,
What are
doing
you
great.
podcasting about?
Oh, me? Okay. Let's see here. I run 3 podcasts myself, and then I co-host a podcast, and then I run 2 podcasts for work. But I do stuff on arts, reviewing other podcasts, and crazy avant-garde stuff. But yeah,
I
fun
mean, for
times.
fun. Those are for fun?
Those 3 are for fun, and then I do 2 for work that pay for all this wonderful stuff. And yeah, yay for the pandemic, because they finally figured out that they needed a podcast or 2 or 7. So I'm the guy that knows how to do it in the entire federal agency that I work for. So I'm the podcast guy for work, which I will always have a job. Yes. But yeah, things are going good. I actually have to do another MRI. What is it? This coming on the 30th. Yeah. Doing the neck, the cervical, and the thoracic. They found a couple of more lesions in the cervical and the thoracic, but they don't like the hospital that I went to get my MRI done. So they want me to go down to their hospital, their MRI machine, which is well, no, I'll take that back. It's $8,000 more for their thing. It's a Tesla 1.5. Theirs is a 1.5. The one up here is a 1.5. I could understand if it was a Tesla 3 or, something like that, but yeah, it's the same thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I get to do that on Thursday, and then we'll do EMG studies on both arms on the 3rd of January. But I am really happy with my team, and I finally feel, I haven't been doing this as long as everybody else here has been doing this, but it took a lot of yelling and cussing and swearing and throwing things around to get me to this team that I'm at right now, that I feel really good with the team itself. So right now it's just the peripheral stuff, getting my specialty medication going. We're switching over. My insurance is switching over from Walgreens to CVS, and it's just, first
Will,
world problem.
Yeah.
will you still be taking a Baggio?
Oh, of course. I said I have to take a Baggio. That's the best sounding medication I've ever had. A Baggio. I'm going to get them to sponsor a couple of podcasts here. Maybe we can get them to sponsor your guys' podcast too. I'm just saying.
Let's talk. Let's do this. I was going to say, because I just want to hear you just talk like a morning show host, because you sound like you're like totally on the radio, and it's like that's a good microphone.
Oh yeah, no, a lovely RE320 right here. But hi, this is Tim Bryan. Talk to you live from Fredericksburg, Virginia, where it's a balmy 66 degrees right now. That's why I don't live in Chicago.
Yeah, I was going to
No, it's
say.
about 59, 55, 59.
Wow. Because I went and moved my car because I had to get it in position, because if the guy comes to plow our driveway, it's not in a good spot. But yeah, it was snowing and stuff here.
Plowing driveways. See, that's one thing I don't have to do here in Virginia. You guys are going to laugh. I have an electric snowblower.
Wow.
Nice.
Why are they gonna laugh? See, I so don't know why that would be funny. Help me.
I mean, being from I'm from Chicago. They're from you guys are from Michigan, if I'm right.
Yes.
So yeah, I have a sister lives up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and she's got a 25 horsepower 4-stage snowblower that big knobby tires, the whole kit and caboodle, and she's maybe 5'2" and 100 pounds soaking wet. And she gives me a hard time because I have an electric snowblower, which is, it's a tiny little thing. It can't handle more than, maybe an inch of snow. But hers, you could have a blizzard come through. She's fine. She'll get it anywhere she wants to go.
Yep.
And I'll show my Michigan roots, Tim. It's like you're sending a boy to do a man's job.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always think that when I'm playing euchre, and I'm like, somebody plays a crappy card. See, Tim, you get it. So,
oh my God,
sorry,
love
Tim.
euchre.
Yeah, Michigan. And it's the holidays. I don't know if y'all got to see your family, but when you're with family here in Michigan, cards kind of, get talked about and played and stuff. So.
And nobody plays euchre here in Virginia. Nobody plays euchre. I have the euchre app on my phone, and I yell and cuss and swear at that, but that's nobody plays euchre. I'm trying to teach my wife and kids, but they just don't have the patience.
What is that? Since I play the ukulele, but I'm like, what? This is something else, right?
It's a Midwest card game.
Oh.
Yeah, same problem in Arizona, Tim. If it makes you feel any better. Nope.
So much for being bi-coastal. I don't know anything about the
Okay, but here's the thing. So let me look at the dates. When's our next meeting? I think the first half next meeting will be like a
euchre tournament.
45-minute euchre tutorial.
The 11th, January 11th.
All right.
And so Christy, you're seeing your doctor on January 10th, but you'll probably be there for 5 days. So if we have a meeting on the 11th, we'll have one on the 25th if my math brain is working. So you can give us details then.
Well, I could always still join the group via my cell phone while I'm in Arizona.
I am
Miss
an old lady, Christy. I forget about technology. Back in my day.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. I could probably hop in on that Tuesday and let you know how it's going so far.
Yeah.
And then I can give a thorough update
Yeah.
come the 28th, I think.
Actually, it's the week before that. She took us to the end of the month.
I have no idea. I just have it on my calendar. That's all I know.
The 4th and the 18th are the meetings next month. No.
How could that
She
be?
was
That
right.
can't be.
She was
Even
right.
I
The
know.
11th and the 25th. I was doing odds. We're doing even weeks. 11 and 25th. So Jen was right. I apologize, Jen. You were right.
Oh, no problem. My math brain can work
But
for a
if,
moment.
and Christy, if you don't make that meeting and stuff, fear not, because we'll record the meeting so you can catch the 45-minute euchre tutorial.
Yeah.
So
I've never even heard of that.
It'll be a BYOB euchre tournament tutorial. So. I like, is that a cat, Holly?
I see all kinds of cats
Yeah,
because
I
you got some crawling around in the background.
He thinks he weighs like 5 pounds and he wants me to pick him up all the time.
wow.
No, but I mean, the only Midwest game that I grew up on was Crying Canasta. I don't know what the euchre is.
My grandma played canasta, but I never learned it.
Yeah, we get kind of cutthroat in my family.
I played canasta. I started getting into mahjong because I'm from New York,
That's
and
good.
anybody Jewish my age, it's the thing, or anybody Chinese. Did your mother play mahjong or did she not play mahjong? You don't have to explain what it is or why it's either like she did or she didn't. And so I sort of got into playing just before I was diagnosed. Like I knew I was kind of something was wrong and somebody was teaching a lesson which I got real fast at and I can play Chinese style and the other. And then I got a set, and when I got it, it was like it smells like my mother, like it's from from that era. And I would just sit in my living room, with this stress of what is going on with me, trying to get the appointments. You have this, you have that. So, and then somebody gave me a card table, and I set it up in my living room, and I would just sort of like solitaire, teach myself. It was just like, okay, I can't take it anymore. It was my stress reduction. I'm just gonna like play 3 hands at a time and figure all this out. And I had it set up for like all of 2019, which was pretty much 2018 when my nightmare started, but in 2019 is when, it was like, okay, now what? Now we know what it is. Now what do I do? And then I finally put it away. I put it away and I pulled it out like 6 months ago. I was like, oh, let me pull it out. And I'm thinking, I can't do that anymore. A game of strategy? Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. So I don't know about euchre. Maybe it's easier. And it is. And then the ladies went from mahjong to canasta. So I did learn how to play canasta as well, which is kind of similar in terms of patterns, but no.
No. That I just find like playing games that's something I do to keep my mind sharp. Or like play, watch Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy game shows and stuff. Because I don't have that, especially now, and we don't have that interaction. And you can read books, but I like the challenge of mind puzzles and games and stuff. I don't know about anybody else, but that just helps me feel sharp.
So, because you brought up a good point, Karen, it's just like, so what do y'all do then to relieve this stress or to get away from, because it's like MS is it's on our minds all the time, literally and figuratively, right? So it's like, how do you escape that? What do you do to get away? I mean, I have music. That's, any way you slice it, it's just like it's an escape.
Or can you get away?
Can you get away?
I'm sorry, Jen, I have to take off. Sorry to interrupt.
No, well, it's good to
Holly,
see.
take care of yourself, and
Thank you so much. I will. Thank you very much.
We'll see you in
all
January.
I
Have
missed
a
you.
happy new year.
I
Thank you.
missed you
Thank
last
you
time,
guys.
right,
Holly.
bye, Holly.
And bye, Holly.
Bye.
I don't
You
know.
know, it sounds weird, but my kind of escape is laundry. And lately, since I've been in my chair, I haven't been able to access the laundry room. So I just sit there and look at the laundry and the laundry baskets, and I'm like, well then, I guess I'm stuck. And we have like the top loading washing machine that's like deep. It doesn't have the agitator in it. So I pretty much have to stand on my tippy toes to get to the bottom. Yeah, I can't even really stand up to get to the top. So that's kind of like Suckville for me right now.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of my like getaway, like my okay.
I totally relate to the laundry thing. I made one really bad decision, like, and people just say, "Really? That was the worst thing you ever did?" But about like in 2018, I had somebody completely destroy my garage, like complete. But it's unbelievable. Like, what do you mean? And it's like, don't worry, it just completely. So I didn't have laundry. And then I would go to this laundromat, and Miss Lottie was there, and I love Miss Lottie. Karen, how you doing? And she's been following like what's been going on with me medically, and so I love going to the laundromat. My neighbor's like, "You got to get that fixed," and I'm like, "No, I like going to, I like going there. It's been kind of nice." And then I realized it's just too much. I can't carry it, and I found my savior, and he repaired. So I have a laundry, but it's also hard for me to get down the steps to go to the garage, and it's hard for me to do stuff. And I don't want to hire someone to do my laundry. I like doing it. I'm totally with you. I want to do my own laundry. I want to fold my own clothes. I don't want to make my bed so the house cleaner, when she comes, does it. But I want to do it. And then I have like a ton of camisoles in different colors. And I didn't do them last time because I thought, well, I can only carry so much. And I'm looking forward to doing like 25 different colored camisoles. And I'll fold them, and I'll just, so I think that, that mundane, because we're so limited, that just doing simple things are satisfying.
Well, and it's so hard, when you get limited more than what you're used to. I mean, it becomes kind of a challenge in your brain. Like today, my hoodie, I was freezing, and it literally was 4 feet away from me. And it took me forever just to get the energy and a plan thought out to go 4 feet to get my hoodie so I could be warm. Like, this is ridiculous. Normally, I could just stand up, grab it, sit back down. No, I have to transfer over to my chair, then turn the chair, get it, put it in a spot that it won't fall off, turn the chair back, get back to where I was. And that's 4 feet. It takes me, something that used to take me less than 10 seconds just to go and grab. Now it's taking me about, if I do it right away, it takes me about 5 minutes. So it's very defeating. You know, it's a mental mind game. You know,
Nothing,
in your head, you can do it. It's fine. Then you go to try to execute that, and it's like, nope.
nothing's automatic anymore.
Right,
Nothing's what? What'd you say, Frank?
Nothing is automatic anymore.
right. And I love the grabbers. Those are amazing. Mine is about 3.5 feet long. I pick stuff up with that grabber all the time because I don't have the energy to stand myself up on one leg, you know, pivot on one leg to get to the chair. So I feel like my grabber is my saving grace. You know, honestly, I should have just grabbed my grabber this morning, but I didn't even think about that. Memory problems. That it's sitting right next to my bed. Should have just grabbed that instead of freezing. So
Yeah, for me, the cognitive has been, on one hand, I don't care because I can't remember things, but yeah, and nobody sees it, you know, nobody sees it. It's not, it's hard to explain. Nobody sees it. It's like, oh, you know, or I've had people just say, oh, you're doing a lot better than what you say you are. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not drooling and babbling incoherently. But yeah, just kind of remembering things. But like you, Dan, I have music. Except I forget what I like. I have a lot of music, and I forget what I like, and I forget what I like to sing, and I forget what songs. And the other day, I have a laptop with Windows Vista in it. It's like, I think I should just get rid of it, but I had music on there. So I thought, okay, let me take off all the music that's on there. And then after that, my keyboard wasn't working. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, let me turn off the computer, turn it back on, and it didn't work. And that panic, I don't have tech skills. And it's like, I like, you know, okay, I have tablets, but what am I going to do? And it just takes so long to figure anything out. And I thought, oh my God, I must have gotten a virus from the Windows Vista, which probably doesn't even have any viruses because it's so old. And then it finally dawned on me that I have a cordless keyboard. And I said, huh. And I opened up the back. I said, maybe the batteries died because I could type. You know, I'll use the mouse, and the mouse works, but the thing, maybe the battery died. And I open it up, and I'm like, I don't recognize those batteries. So probably all that typing of wore it out. And then I only have one AAA battery, but then I had my little brain, and everything just takes so long. And it's a good thing I probably would have gotten rid of the corded keyboard with the tablet after I take everything off of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm afraid to plug in the keyboard. What if I need a driver? I can't really download a driver. And I plugged it in and it worked. So I'm like, okay, I got a keyboard that works. But I just went out to buy batteries. I kept stalling, and everything just takes so much energy. And then I'm like, well, I got to open the package. I got to put the batteries in. What if it doesn't work? But I went to my laptop, and I don't know why, but it gave me like a random jukebox. And I just had so much fun listening to all these songs that I love, and that I probably have 1,000 recordings of songs that I learned from music camps that I've been to, and but it just threw everything in there. And I went, okay, it just made me so happy. Like, I have not been unhappy. You know, I am going downhill. Like, how are you? And I'm amazed about how not unhappy I am. Is that wait, what's a double negative? I'm not
No, it works.
unhappy.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and the music thing really just made me happy because, you know, I'm not going to be able to go. I hardly go out anyway, but I really can't go back to what it was. And I was so grateful to have all these recordings. I went, well, I can't have a lot of new experiences so I can revisit the old ones. Like being at camps or classes or doing that. But
I'm not trying to belittle any sort of cognitive problems, Karen, or, Kim, you've talked about it in the past. But if you have cognitive problems, is there any sort of medication that will help with that? Has anyone? No. I just
No, a
want-
lot of medications will make it worse.
And again, I'm not trying to belittle or be dumb. I watch a lot of TV. I will, full disclosure. But I don't know if you ever see the commercials for Prevagen, where people are like, oh, I couldn't remember names, and so I started taking Prevagen. Kim, you're nodding your head. You know what I'm talking about.
I've
I
seen
haven't heard
the
that
little I
one.
watch TV. I have heard of the Prevagen commercial.
And I just wondered if anything like that, I mean, knock wood, if I have cognitive problems, I don't know it. So ignorance is bliss. But I just was curious about cognitive.
Really, it hasn't affected you? And
Mm-mm. Disease just took my legs. Still got it up here. Again, if I don't have it, somebody tell me, but ignorance
no,
is
then I was
bliss.
going to be like really crass. I was going to say, oh, I guess you were just always stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because
exactly. Ignorance is bliss.
Well,
When I
and it is,
asked
yeah.
a neuropsychologist years ago, not the one at Mayo, but the first one I went to, I asked him years ago, what's the most bang I can get, most bang for my buck for cognition? And he's like, number one, number two, I don't know which one's number one versus two, is diet and exercise. And it's the third, which is a different distant third, was like, playing games and things like that he was ranking eating
But
and
what?
exercising as the number one and number two best ways for cognitive issues.
So if you can't
Brain food.
exercise, what do you do about
Well,
that?
you can
Like your body.
still exercise, but you have to be able to modify it. There's lots of stuff you can do in the chair. There's lots of stuff I mean.
Also eating healthy. That's why, like, I talked to this one doctor I used to work with, and she would say brain food.
Right.
I was like, well, I'm not eating the right food then. Because my cognitive is horrible. My problem solving, gone. Multitasking, gone. Let's see. My perception sometimes driving, which is scary, gone. It's just weird. It's so weird.
It's a very weird thing because you sound articulate. You're not confused. You don't, it's not like you're confused. I mean, even when you're driving and you go, oh, I forgot to get off of that exit. You know that you forgot to get off the exit. You didn't just go, how did I get here? Where am I?
I just end up somewhere I don't even know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I've been in Richmond most of my life, and it's like, I must have had a brain fart. Lots of them. But and even little small things like my nephew's name, I could not think of it for hours. I could not think of my own nephew's name. It was gone. And then I look at my husband, I'm like, and he'd have to tell me.
A friend of mine reminds me because she did come with me to a conference, an MS conference, and there was somebody there from Stanford. And I tell her like, oh, I can't remember stuff. And then she said, but you're not going to get dementia. We're not candidates for dementia. And that's really what people think of when they think of cognitive issues. And that it just comes later. So I was trying to think of a friend's last name and like, I just wait. It'll come, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not even.
It's the instant
That's what.
recall.
It's the what?
Instant recall. You just
I remember.
You just can't recall things instantly.
and there's been like a number of times that I'll Jennifer and I are talking sports and things like that, or just anything like that. And it's like, I can't remember names of things, but I've said, if it was a multiple choice, I could tell you what it is. But just like, just like right out of, off the top of my head, it's like, I can't remember, because, we sit there watching football and like have the phone so I can see, well, where'd this guy play at college and stuff. And you look it up and they're just thinking, what guy was I looking up? And you're just like, it was multiple choice, I could figure it out. But, I'd be 100%. But because I have to like call it out right away, I'm like, I got nothing. But is it because we watch too much sports? I don't know.
It's because you got MS. And then that's the kind of like, and then because I'm 70 and a lot of my friends are 78 and younger, but they're like, oh, everybody has that. And it's like, no, it's different. And it affects your whole day of like, everybody goes into a room and goes, what were they going in there for? But the way you're describing it, it's constant. It's constant. And you don't even know that it's constant. You're going to get food and you're going to put certain things together but it just takes up a lot of, and then yet I will say on the positive for me, amazing to me, because I listen to a program in Israel once a week usually, and it's really like elevated my Hebrew. Like it got me back to, so I'm not apologetic, and I go, well, that's amazing with all that cognitive crap. And then when the guy fixed my garage, my Spanish got boosted up because and I go, well, how can I be trilingual? That's amazing. And then last week I was watching something and it was in Portuguese, and I've never studied Portuguese. And I'm going, oh, and it also had written in Portuguese, and I was like, oh, I understand this. That's amazing. So it's a really weird. I did ask the neuropsychologist, and I also asked the palliative, because it's just so weird. And they said like the brain is just an amazing thing, because my psychologist, her last name is Carol. I don't really think of her as that. And I used to be a foster mom, and my foster daughter's social worker name was Carol Ann. And whenever I talk about my psychologist, I keep calling her Carol Ann. And I'm like, why? What? I know she's not Carol Ann. I just was, embarrassing. Like, why do her name's Amanda. Like I know that. And then the neuropsychologist, he said, oh, it's like your brain is making these associations. Like that, oh, there was Carol Ann, and so I don't even think about Carol Ann anymore. Why does that keep popping up? And then it's almost like that got into the track and I can't pull it back out of the track. So
that happened with me with my physical therapist. So I've seen him like 3 times. His name is Steve. And for some reason this week, I want to keep calling him John.
And who's
I don't
John?
know.
And you don't know who John
I don't
is?
know. And so tomorrow when I see him, I'm like, I know your name's Steve. I want to call you John. So what's your rock and roll name? So I can start calling that next week. We'll just keep giving you new names. And so I just roll with it. It's just like, because we're like, oh my God, I don't know why I keep thinking you're John. It's just a brain thing. This happens sometimes. You just roll with it. You just go with it. You just, hey.
Well, see,
I don't know why.
I thought it was for me a good explanation. Well, you're making a connection, so I don't feel as bad. That I can even make jokes in Spanish. How is that? Like I go, so obviously I have there's some cognitive.
But depending on where the MS is affecting which area of your brain, some things can be fully intact, and then some things I always explain to people with MS, some things go and never come back, some things kind of come in and out, and some things you're just fine. So that's it made me think of, when you're talking about cognitive stuff, one of the first books I read about someone who had MS, I believe he was a lawyer, and one day he was driving, same road he's been driving hundreds of times, and he just like no recognition where he was at, had no clue where he was at. And then he also talked about one point, he like looked at his wife and he was like, is that my wife? He's like, wife? Because he didn't recognize her. And that was passing. But for just those moments, it was very terrifying. Like, how I've been married to this gal for how many years and I didn't even recognize her. And it's just how it is, and you have to keep a sense of humor and laugh, and you roll with it, and you just, I think for me, one of my coping mechanisms is I just admit it. When I have a problem, I let people know it, and instead of frustrating or like, hold on, I lost my thought, have an MS moment, give me a second, let me relax, and I'll remember it and stuff. So the
My
downside of
kids
it,
would be,
go ahead.
no, my kids would be like, let me guess, Mom, it's an MS moment. I was like, yes, it is.
But you gotta have fun with it. I mean, you gotta
Well, you
have
do.
fun with it. Like, so I'm gonna turn this Steve that's now John this week to me. I'm gonna turn that into a joke, make it fun, have a good time, and just not let it get you down, because it can get you really depressing really fast. You're just like, nah, just rule. And then you'll do the most random stuff that you'll remember. And like, how can I remember this? But I can't remember that. And it's just so funny.
One thing I've noticed is that my like short-term memory is, but I remember stuff from when I was 5 very vividly. And then as years go by, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened when I was 28. I start remembering stuff that I couldn't remember at that time. And then it just pops in my head and I'm like, well, that was random. But thank you, brain, for giving me useless information 15 years later. But my immediate, it sucks. Like I have to write it down or put it in my phone or text my husband saying, hey, help me remember this. Because if I don't, I'll forget.
That's
So
right, Dan, you're supposed to remind me. When do I take my vitamin D? He said, we'll remind you. And I was like, no, now you just messed up. You won't remember.
I know. Don't.
It's
Yeah.
okay. It
I
was
kept
nice to feel the moral support.
I kept showing up at the co-op for my pickup drive, my drive up pickup. I kept showing up at the wrong times. I got so embarrassed. I had to start sending my husband the confirmation email what time my pickup was, because if I told him, sometimes I told him wrong. So I had to literally send the original email and forward it to him because it got so bad. I kept showing up at the wrong times. And I just apologized. Like, I'm sorry, I have MS. I just can't. And they were cool with it, but I'm just like, I'm not trying to be a jerk and show up early or late. I just don't remember. So
I'm glad I went to the Center for Accessible Technology in January of 2020. Thank goodness, because I'd really be lost. And so they, encouraged me to get a Google Calendar. And it's got tons of colors. And now, I have it's got all these colors that I could put things in. And then I found out that I can make even more colors for categories. And that's helped me a lot. Of course, sometimes I forget to look at the calendar, but because I can't write things down, I was getting to that point of, I'm not going to be able to write. How am I going to do this? And that's been real helpful.
I got it was in 2005. I got a really good calendar to help me keep track of things. Her
Yeah.
name's Jennifer, and so
And she doesn't have cognitive problems.
no, because she's got a phone and she invites me. It's like if we have something to write or something, and I'll be sitting there at work and my phone will beep, and it's like, oh, we've got something to do tonight. Like we've got to cook something tonight. But she sends me invites just so I'm sure that I have everything tracked. But yeah, I can't. If it weren't for like electronic calendars and stuff, we wouldn't be able to keep anything straight. I mean, that's just, that's a blessing just to be able to
Yeah,
have.
but I like all the colors that I put in.
Yes.
Nice.
Because
And
I'm going to a music camp. That's why there's all over New Year. So that's why it's like a big, long, colorful thing. But it just
Right.
kind of helps me.
that doesn't overwhelm you?
Huh. No, you know what? I'm not visual. I'm not a visual person.
Okay.
So yeah, it would overwhelm me to have to, it overwhelms me to hear like extraneous noises and if I'm at the airport, which I never go anymore, or a jury duty's like, why is there a TV going? Would you turn that down? I don't like that. But I'm not visual at all. So maybe it's funny that for this, when it comes to color, I'm visual. I like colors, but yeah, I could see that would be overwhelming. Like, what the heck does that mean? Yeah, it really helps me go, oh, okay, that's. In fact, I have on here Dr. B.J. Miller and can check the time on Wednesday the 29th, but I think that must have gotten changed.
Now, BJ has something tomorrow. I don't know what
That's
it is
just
because I had
I
it on
thought
my
I saw
calendar too.
something.
Well,
They-
it just, yeah, does he? You sure? Because I didn't see it on the NCAN.
Well, it might have been his site, Mental Health or something. I'm not sure.
No, I wrote it from here because I wrote NCAN. But I don't see it on.
I wonder if Rick is listening and
No,
maybe.
he's not
It
on.
doesn't look like he is. We can talk about him now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just thinking maybe he could set us straight if he knows any information about that. If we can remember to ask him.
I'm gonna make
Well,
note of that.
he would. I mean, it would be on the website, and he would have chimed in at least the time before. So I just presume that. See, Kim and I were stuck with our calendar, going, "There's something tomorrow." Frank.
No, my husband and I do that all the time. What Dan and Jennifer does, where they like my husband's like, I have this, I'm like, put it on the calendar, and he sends me an invite. And gets added to the calendar
Well, it's like
all the time.
there's just there's so much. Even if it's not going on, if there's something that we run out of or need to get on Jennifer's grocery list, I mean, she'll stop dead in her tracks. Whatever we're talking about, she has to go get her phone because she's got to put it on the grocery list right then and there, because otherwise we won't remember. All right.
We haven't had glass wipes for like 3 months because I haven't written the damn thing on my grocery list.
Where
So
do you write that? What kind of program do you use for that?
I just use my cell phone, and I say to my cell phone to send me a text, and then I read the words and put it on my grocery list. It's so asinine the way I do it, but it's the way that makes sense to my crazy brain. So just text a word, text it something. So
Then I found a color note. Like, I like that. I found color note, and I have lots of lists and things like that. But then they have to be synced. Like, I have to sync them because I have different gadgets. And so last night I was like, I know I made a note about something and it's not in this gadget. And then if I sync it, will it erase it from the other one? But
I try to do that between my work calendar and my cell phone and stuff, but it's like work is on Central Time, cell phones on Eastern Time and stuff and I missed a couple appointments or got caught off guard because like things weren't synced up. I was like it was an hour earlier, an hour later, so I don't truly keep working.
Are you on Eastern Time in Michigan?
Yeah, we're Eastern. Yeah, so yeah, but then go back to Iowa where my company is, and Kim Stroh's located. That's Central Time, and it's just like, and I don't know if you realize, Kim, and I don't know how everyone else's time zone things, but just how Central Time is like the best place to live because nightly news is on at 10, and your Letterman or at the time or Jimmy Fallon's on at 10:30, but it's like in Eastern Time, that stuff doesn't even come on till 11. That's like bedtime. So that's my
You're not
complaint.
missing. There's no 10 o'clock news.
It is pretty nice on New Year's Eve if you watch the ball drop in New York. It's 11 o'clock, so you can go to bed an hour earlier.
Yep. We actually had done that. Whatever we were doing, I think it was talking about just podcasting or in terms of like energy, and we were just like to celebrate New Year's in a different time zone. And does whether it's like you with Eastern, we're just like, we have friends that live in Israel. I mean, so we could actually go 7 hours early. So, it's just, I mean, you just like find different ways to celebrate that stuff so you're not up till midnight. And
Well, they have this camp, this music camp. It always happened here, in the Bay Area. So they're doing it 4 days online, and then they put in the schedule. It's midnight in New Delhi. It's midnight in Russia. But there are people that come from Australia, and I'm going to perform on Friday night. On New Year's, on Friday night, there's a concert, and so I have a slot in there. And then my friend in Italy has a slot, and so I looked up to see what time it is, because last year she kept texting me, chat in the chat room, and said, I go, let's get a room, because they do have rooms. So it was kind of fun, and we like went in a room, and usually on Zoom you can't sing at the same time, but somehow we were able to do that. But it is kind of amazing that and she's like, I gotta go to bed. It's like 3 a.m. So I was like, wow, what time is she gonna be performing? Like, she's like a little after me. But the one thing I do like too about that music program I listen to in Israel, because it's conversation. It's a music program, but he's talking about different artists, and there's interviews. So it's like I don't have to hold up the end of a conversation, and it's still kind of dialogue and conversation. But when I put it in, and they changed the website, I guess starting now, and then it took me a while like to go, oh, and they go, you want to put it in your Google Calendar? So I like it. I get in my Google Calendar in Hebrew, even though it says 9 p.m. Israel, it pops in at the right time in my calendar. I have
nice.
it in Hebrew, so that's kind of fun. But today I went in and it wasn't working. And then 2 weeks ago it wasn't working. And then I went to the site and they said, oh, due to circumstances beyond our control. But today I couldn't figure out why it didn't work. And then somehow I went back in there and I was like, oh, look, it is on, because they also do a daylight saving, but it's a different time. So yeah, it is crazy.
Survey here. How many people have used closed captioning even though they can hear just fine? Because it makes it easier to understand everything, especially when you're like on a comedy show or something and they are just talking super fast. Like I can't. So I've gotten people like used to, like, if you want to watch a movie with me, guys, I'm sorry, you have to put the closed captioning on. I won't be able to follow it.
I don't know how many times I have to rewind certain portions of shows just so I can understand what's going on. Because I'm like, what did they just say?
Well, that's how I felt about that urologist. What?
But yeah, there's a lot of times I have to rewind just so I can be on the same page as everybody else.
See, I change it up a bit. I'll watch a lot of foreign films, so everybody in the room is as confused as I am. So that's my way around it. And I'm like, it wasn't that great. And
Wait,
like, how
you
did you
do or you
understand?
don't watch foreign films?
Oh no, I do. I watch a lot of foreign films. So that way, everybody in the house is all discombobulated, like I usually am. So.
Nice.
Tiffany, what is your cat's name?
This one's Sophie, and then I have another cat, Bailey.
Okay.
But
Sophie
she's
is like wanting attention.
a little bit today, yeah.
Wow, very cute.
Yeah.
That's a really good question for Rick. Rick, do you ever do closed captioning for webinars or these things for people?
We don't have the capacity to do that. The closest we come is that GoToMeeting, before we post to YouTube, these are recorded to GoToMeeting, and GoToMeeting does an automatic transcript, but it's not great. So it would have to be edited, and it's a big job. And we just don't have the ability to take these and then to go back and to close caption them. I mean, it would be a great thing to get a grant for, And then, to pay somebody to do it, but it's not right now in our sites, but if somebody wanted to pursue it on our behalf, we'd be happy to sponsor it.
And then we had another question for you. Both Karen and myself had, I'm totally blanking on his name here. The mental
BJ
health.
Miller
Thank
on the
you.
calendar. Yeah, for
Between the both
tomorrow.
of us, we'll get it figured out for something tomorrow. Is that canceled? Because we don't.
I don't. Oh, with us or from Mental Health?
No, with you, because I had a note in my calendar, Dr. BJ Miller and can check the time. That was like, when you were talking about the urologist. Okay, well,
No.
BJ Miller Health Stress
Oh,
Seminar.
I know why. I do know why. Originally, we were going to do it, and we've pushed it off till next year. And hold on a minute, and I'll tell you why. You guys are right, because I think we had that scheduled at one point, and we're going to do it on March the 29th on health anxiety. It's going to be a session on health anxiety for all
who could relate
conditions.
to that?
I wonder. I just wonder. And right now, Elliot Kerman, who some of you might have seen on Solo Arts Heal, who was the founder of Rockapella, and used to be on
Where in the world is
Where in
Carmen
the
San
World is
Diego?
Carmen San? Yes. So Elliot's hopefully going to host it because he is an expert in health anxiety. We held his hand through his treatment, and he's doing great. So he's agreed right now to host it, but I'm not quite sure how we're going to put it all together. We may be looking for more people, so we may be coming to somebody from this group too to see if they'd like to be in a panel to talk about it. Oh, and then John Antonucci, who is he's the psychiatrist at the VA. He's a VA psychiatrist. I think he might be retired now, but he has also we've been supporting him for quite a while. He has metastatic prostate cancer, and he's offered to do something in that too. So it will happen. So we're putting it all together. He's pretty good on health anxiety. He's obviously deals a lot in his capacity at the VA. He's dealt a lot with that. So
We need like flashcards for providers because, they love to just say, oh, well, you have anxiety, as if nobody else does,
right.
but, or as
No,
if
you're
it's,
right.
yeah.
You're right. Are these new blue spectacles that you're wearing, Karen?
No, but I noticed your mustache. Is that a new mustache you're wearing?
What?
Are you wearing a new mustache?
Oh gosh, no.
No?
This is ancient. No, I have a pair of blue
Oh.
specs, and those look like blue spectacles there. So I was going to say,
I'm usually ahead of the curve on fashion, and I got blue glasses, and I noticed that Drew Carey and Liz Cheney have glasses like this. I didn't know what to think of that.
they've obviously been watching our sessions here on YouTube. So,
Well, I do have computer glasses, but I only wear them if I'm reading, so these aren't new, and these are really old, but the lenses are new, so you might see me more in this. But,
okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
I work,
I
since
did
I
want
worked.
to say, go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, no, since I I get the whole anxiety and stuff. But working with, in the mental health field for 15 years, I think it's like everybody does have anxiety, but some people just don't know how to cope and have those coping skills.
Yeah, it's a really I think the purpose of this webinar is to try and impart some of the coping skills.
Right.
Um,
And
and
and here, you know, what anxiety, and even if you add depression in it, what that does to your, like, I've seen, you know, so many people, like what it does to their mind. It is crazy. And, you know, causing like either visual or um audio hallucinations. You know, my daughter and my son both, you know, their anxiety got so much, especially my daughter during the COVID, like she was thinking people were in her mind, like reading her thoughts. It's crazy, crazy. And I don't know what I would have done if I didn't know what to do.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I have
yeah,
to tell my providers because, especially my primary, because she's the one I'm most in touch with. But, I said, I don't lay awake at night worrying about MS. I mean, I did when I was first not diagnosed and put on this, merry-go-round. And then it was also like, you should take this infusion. It's like, what? I mean, to slow the disease down, where it's like, well, you didn't even ask me if I want to slow it down. I don't know if I want to take this infusion. I don't know what it is. And thank God I didn't, because once COVID hit, it's like, oh, okay, you don't want to be on immunosuppressant therapy. And it's not likely to help me, especially for me. But I have more anxiety dealing with a dysfunctional medical system. And then, and then just to throw it back on me, well, you have anxiety. It's like, no, I mean, I get billed like 4 times a year for something I shouldn't get billed for. I've got 5 appointments, 5 telephone calls just to make a routine appointment. Wait, the whole home care thing just totally stressed me out. So, there's such an irony, because especially in the healthcare, they like to label you. I finally had the
Yeah.
nerve. I finally read the report from the occupational therapist who put the kibosh on the home care, where I couldn't get answers. That involved 25 phone calls. And why did I not get the home care? And I finally read it. I didn't want to, because I knew it would piss me off. And I'm relieved I don't have her, because there's a lot of things you could say about Karen Broder, but she wrote down exhibited anxiety and paranoia. I told my doctor and my psychologist, and they both were like, what? Like, and then I realized, oh, she was paranoid. That was it. I couldn't really put my finger on what was so off with her. And it was like, she was paranoid. She's like, well, I can't lose my license. I'm like, I'm not asking you to lose your license. You really don't see a need here. But, just, and to be so unprofessional and to put a word like that on me without describing about the little people I was talking about, or your daughter saying, there's people reading my thoughts. It's like, well, back it up, back it up at least. But
And it's crazy because they truly believe it. Like when things happen, like the mind is like, it's just so much sometimes.
yeah, people are moving things. I mean, there's so many things that people can, but I feel like a sitting target, that, that just, because there's so many providers that I have, and there's such diversity about what they would do versus what I would do. And just throw it out there. Oh, you have anxiety. Okay, well, then we don't have to address it.
Let's get you a pill for that. Yeah. They like to throw medicine at a lot of people, which I take my medicine. It's great. It works wonderful, but I think it's not a forever thing. I don't think that you should be on medicine like anxiety or depression for like the rest of your life. I think it's just so you get over that hump. That's just my
no,
thoughts.
I don't think I agree with you with that, Jennifer. I mean, I've been using an antidepressant medicine since 2000. No, excuse me, 2002. And I had tried one once before in the 80s, and it didn't work for me. and I've adjusted the dose for various reasons,
Mhm.
because I've been taking other medical drugs that have needed me to adjust the dose. But I know that I have genetic issues around depression. I mean, my mother had 27 ECT treatments when I was growing up, and so I know that there are. I mean, physiologically, I just don't think I make the right proteins to stay balanced.
Right.
And for years and years, I tried to fight it. And then eventually I agreed, yeah, let's try. And the first one I tried just didn't work. It made me feel even worse. And the second one I tried, which was an SNRI versus an SSRI, helped a lot. And I've been using it ever since. More recently, on using it as an extended release. And I figured out the amount that I need. And I'm not trying to wean myself off it. I mean, it's fine. I'll be on it till I die.
Right.
And
it is a
because I
balance. It is a
know.
balance that we need.
Thanks for sharing that.
I mean,
I have several people in my life that are struggling with depression. And well, I don't want to take anything because, it's like a sign of weakness. It's like, no, that's if
And also it's for your provider. Like, I just don't say, get off your medicine, because, when a lot of people do get off their medicines, oh, they're feeling better. Why are you feeling better? But you're not taking your medicine. That's why you're not feeling better anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you get to know yourself. And I'm also sure that had I started using this medicine earlier than I did, probably would have felt better, been more balanced. And I still go off balance, and I know when it's happening, and I know some of the reasons why, and sometimes they're social reasons. But I also think that for both depression and anxiety, I mean, thank God I don't suffer from anxiety, but for depression and anxiety, there are physiological reasons. There are imbalances in the brain chemistry. And I mean, for years, I used to balance it myself with huge amounts of exercise. But, you can't always do that. You can't continue to do that. So, and it's very interesting for us with prostate cancer advocacy, because a main treatment in prostate cancer advocacy is hormone therapy. And it invokes exactly the same, and I've told you guys this, I think, on this call before, but it invokes many of the same symptoms as menopause. So, when men lose testosterone, women lose their estrogen, it also affects the brain chemistry. I mean, I don't know about estrogen, but I do know that testosterone is important for the brain chemistry too. And so we see these men suddenly becoming super depressed, and they don't understand why, and they don't want to do anything about it. And we say to them, no, it's not the fact that you got prostate cancer. It's because we put you on this drug, and this is one of the things that the drug does. And then we have to convince them to go to their doctors and talk to their doctors about taking an antidepressant to get them balanced again. And if they're lucky enough to come off the drug, as I was, then they have to rebalance. I mean, when I went on hormone therapy, I doubled my antidepressant dose to retain the same balance at the suggestion of my
did the hormones help? I mean, I'm the only one here, I think, that can talk about menopause, but it was like,
no,
it was making
no,
me, I felt crazy. Like if you already have something, in fact, I just talked to someone yesterday about that because she's 49. She's just, having all this stuff. And I said, well, there's also menopause. She's, no, I know myself. It's not that. And it's like, I felt like for me, it was like, there's an edge when you're stepping over an edge and you're crazy. And I'm like, I'm looking over the edge, and it wasn't until I understood that it was hormonal. But yeah, there's so many so many things that the
So,
body.
so with the treatment for prostate cancer, they take the hormones out your body. You don't supplement with hormones, and the reason you have issues is because they induce the same impact as menopause would have on a woman. They remove your testosterone and they reduce your estrogen. So you don't supplement because you don't want
Oh, you don't want them.
testosterone in your body.
And it makes you crazy.
Right.
Like,
So does all the guys' libidos just take a nosedive too at the same time then?
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, it's really interesting. It's not 100%. So my libido I didn't lose all my libido. I mean, I lost a little, but I didn't lose my libido. But I would say about 10% of men do not. About 90% of men do, to some degree or completely. The weird thing is you don't necessarily lose your physical ability to have an erection or to have sex, but you lose the interest. The libido goes away without the testosterone. And so that becomes an issue too. And so there have to be workarounds with that. And there's a lot of work that can be done in couples. And this is a perfect segue. I did not ask him to give me that question, but it is a perfect segue to what we're going to do on the 31st of January, when we got Rachel Rubin coming back, and she's going to do a session on intimacy and sexual dysfunction before Valentine's Day, which will definitely include Miss Kim. And but it's not only going to be MS, it'll be MS, it'll be prostate cancer, bladder cancer, and probably some wheelchair folks who have spinal injuries. We're just trying to work out how we get the word out. But yeah, we'll be putting out more about that. But make a note, Monday the 31st, we've got Rachel Rubin coming back. By popular demand, might I add.
I need to make a note about a mental libido, because I finally get it. You know, we were talking about cognitive, and I feel like I don't have the mental libido that I had before. That it just, I can't remember things. I'm not as interested in, and then some people say, well, but what if you did such and such, it would make you happy. And it's like, I don't know. I don't care about things the way I'm not apathetic, but it just, I don't have a mental libido. I'm going to take that term.
Well, you guys can have the room as long as you like, but I just wanted to come in, wish everybody a very, very, very happy new year. I wanted to thank you. And I hope it brings the very best health that it can to all of you. And also thank those who have made a donation to ANCAN. We are truly appreciative. We are improving our programming. I think if you didn't know, we're going to have 4 of the art sessions next year. They're going to be open to everyone, not just MS. Hannah's going to do them with Alexa, and we've got them scheduled, and we've gotten a grant for 50% of the cost, and we'll be funding the other 50%. And so that's sort of some of the things that the money goes to be used for. And we'll be sending out art supplies to everybody. So, if you sign up, you'll get art supplies, and you and whoever else uses art supplies in your household can have fun. And
Very cool.
So
it's exciting.
Yeah, that's very good. We've got we're continuing with our solo arts heal. We're always looking for more MS people. We've had one, I think, maybe 2, 1. but if we got any more performers, that's
You
a
could have had me,
possibility.
but you could have had me,
You,
but
yeah,
I've
that's. I'm not
created
getting
since.
involved. I'm not getting involved. But I will tell you that we are doing a solo arts heal tomorrow night, which it's going to include me. I got a call on Friday saying, would I be available because they want to do a year-end thing, and they've got a couple of performers and they want to talk about what we've done because they like what we've done. So, and
Oh,
if
you
you
mean from the
didn't see
marsh?
the
You got a
last,
call.
yeah, from the marsh. And if you didn't see the last Solo Arts Heal, watch out for it when it gets posted. It was very, very powerful. It was on addiction, and it was so, so powerful. It was with a fellow who makes short movies about addiction, and it was good. That's all I will say. Like 5-minute movies about addiction and stuff, but it was really good.
Well, I'm
So
glad you
I'm saying
asked.
goodbye.
I'm glad you asked me about it, Rick, because I have since then made performance piece about being asked to do a performance and what happens with that. So I've like performed it like ever since. So like I got that little that Old Town Road that's been my theme
Okay.
song.
I have a good
Like
night, right?
All right, everybody. Good to see everyone.
All right, and mark it. We talked about it, but January 11th is the next meeting.
8:30
8:30
Eastern
Eastern
time. You
time.
do the math if you're in another time zone.
No, it was hard because Kim said even, and then I'm like, but 11 isn't even.
Even
Oh.
weeks. Even weeks.
I got it. But I was like, it can't
We're
be 11.
even.
And first 45 minutes tutorial on euchre. So bring your cards.
And
I'm going to
Christy,
bring my uke.
were you asking me, Jen, or that?
You, Jen.
Oh, just really quick, I take Rituxan.
That's
So
what I thought. My sister-in-law, so my brother-in-law's wife, she just switched over to Rituxan. So I was like, I believe that there are people in my support group that are on Rituxan as well.
and Holly that was here earlier. Holly also takes Rituxan. And Tiffany, do you remember the name of the other woman that's out by you?
Oh, no.
But
I might have
there's
it written down. Yeah.
another woman that's come to our meeting that also takes Rituxan.
And that was what was suggested to me until I realized for me, because of my age, it wouldn't help. So
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, her neurologist switched her
Yeah.
from why am I not thinking of the
Sarah.
word? Tecfidera. So she's, she's new to it. So she was asking me if I knew anything about it. And I said, well, I have some people that I know that are on it. So
That was my first medicine I took was Tecfidera. Talk about some hot flashes. God.
Really?
Yeah.
I think her name was Anne.
And that sounds familiar. Thank
yeah.
you, Tiff.
But she sent me her email, so I have everybody's, like anybody sent me their email, I have it in my phone. So
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry that I couldn't remember Anne. Anne, it's a simple, but yeah, got the MS too. Everyone's
It's after 10 o'clock at night your time, girl. Give yourself a break.
yeah. Oh boy. So yes, after 10.
When I'm not kicking and screaming saying I got to work tomorrow because I actually have this week off. So that sometimes.
So Dan can stay all night tonight.
And because we were up late watching football last night, so I don't know, maybe we can sleep in tomorrow. So
Yeah.
who was playing? No, I'm just kidding because you can't remember.
no, I can't. I know it was Dolphins and the Saints. Okay, here's the thing. So you write this down on your calendar so you all can say you were alive for this. So the Miami Dolphins last night became the first team in NFL history to have a 6-game losing streak and a 6-game winning streak in the same season. So there, aren't you glad you showed up to group tonight?
If you
I'll
need
forget
it.
it tomorrow.
Trivia to my husband.
Are we still recording now that I
Oh
realize?
yeah.
Well, see, I'm glad you recorded it because now people can have that